What's up, y'all? I'm Austin Winters, and welcome to another edition of Winter's World. Today, I want to discuss three of the most insane banned sports I've ever heard of. Sports have been around for most of human history. We tend to get bored a lot as humans, so we make up games to keep ourselves entertained. Sports tend to be more physical games. And believe it or not, sports used to be a lot more bloody and a lot more violent than they are today. I mean, you know that the UFC fights today are still violent. American football can be a very violent sport and injury can happen. But a long time ago, sports were a lot more dangerous and just completely insane. So today I want to walk you through what I think are the three most insane banned sports I've ever come across. Starting with number 3. The sport is called shock fighting. Shock fighting. So you can assume that it involves fighting and shocking. Imagine the MMA. Imagine an MMA glove, and you take the glove and install a taser into that glove. 50,000 volts of electricity. You're not just getting punched by a strong man. Imagine getting punched by Floyd Mayweather with a taser shock in it, right to your face. It's very obvious why this sport is banned in the United States for health reasons and health risks. But I don't know if it's just me. I would imagine that taser could hurt the person that's actually doing the punching too. I don't know how you don't cause a shock to yourself or break the taser, or just having a solid object on your knuckles as you're punching doesn't seem like a good idea. Maybe I'm not too familiar with the sport of shock fighting, but it doesn't seem like the best idea. So I'd stay away from that one. Number 2 of the most insane banned sports is called fox tossing. Again, the name kind of says it all. It's tossing foxes way up in the air. So back in the 16 and 1700s in Europe, this became a very popular sport amongst the aristocracy. You'd have an arena where all of these trapped animals would be let loose in, and you'd have couples of people with cloth, long things of cloth. So think about if you were in elementary school when we would go to recess, you'd have the parachute where you'd throw balls up in the air by shaking it. Everyone would get together and shake it and the balls would go launching. That's what these people were doing with foxes. And I know what you're thinking, it sounds violent, just another thing that guys are doing, but this was actually popular for dates. So imagine taking your girlfriend or wife to a fox tossing event where she lines up on the other side of you, and you both are just launching these critters up into the air, and they're coming back down, and typically it would kill them in the first 2 or 3 tosses. If they were wealthy enough, they'd sprinkle sawdust everywhere to have a cushion, because it's kind of a bummer when the fox dies on the first throw. I know, it's insane. The most insane of all of these that was in recorded history of these fox tossing events was one held in Dresden. The numbers are just insane. At the end of that fox tossing event, there were 647 dead foxes, 533 dead hares, 34 dead badgers, and 21 dead wildcats. You could just imagine the carnage, the blood, and the dead carcasses everywhere. And this was considered a fun date for the aristocracy. And just 300 or 400 years ago. I think we've come a long way just going to dinner and a movie. And the number 1 most gruesome and insane banned sport, in my opinion, is called goose pulling. So imagine you have a pole or a rope and you string it up, a goose, a live goose, you string him up there head down, and then you ride a horse at full gallop trying to grab the head of that goose and yank it clean off. Geese naturally produce oil in their skin that helps them be waterproof, water repellent, so they'd be real slick to grab. And over and over again, people would ride through trying to grab them. This started in the 1100s in Spain. It did come over to North America, so it was practiced in the United States. It was popular in the South before the Civil War, and it was actually a desegregated sport. So slaves and whites, all those people there, Native Americans, competed together and had fun just decapitating these geese with their bare hand. It was a big event before there was cable TV or normal entertainment that we have today. It's still popular today in Belgium, but they don't use live geese, fortunately. And just last year in 2019, they banned using dead geese to do it. So they were using dead geese for decades just to pull the head off. They finally banned that. Now they're just using fake geese. It was very popular in those times, and you got to keep the goose head. That was the reward. You kept the goose head, and you maybe got the dead bird, and your buddies would buy you drinks because you were a good horse rider and you were good at ripping the head off the goose. It wasn't like you were playing for money or anything. This was simply entertainment for people back then. So those are the top 3 most insane, gruesome banned sports in my opinion. What are your top 3? Thank you.